You're listening to Design Between the Lines, the only design and home furnishings podcast where we talk with the movers and shakers, industry innovators, and lifetime legends of the home furnishings industry. It's here that I get a chance to sit and chat with the influencers shaping the industry into what it is today. This episode of Design Between the Lines is brought to you by Furnishings Design Incorporated. For over 15 years, FDI has been providing commercially successful product designs, marketing research, and strategy to manufacturers and marketers of fine furnishings products. FDI's approach to design and product development is based on optimism, collaboration, creativity, innovation, and a focus on end consumers' lifestyles and the client's brand image. Find out more at www.furnishingsdesigner.com. Today, I'm delighted to speak with Gail Doby, co-founder of the distinguished Gail Doby coaching and consulting firm. Gail has built a career channeling her business acumen to help designers bridge the gap between their creative and entrepreneurial work. She has fostered the success of countless clients through a warm yet uncompromising approach to building their business skills, as well as boosting their unique creative voice. She has also been known to engage in various speaking engagements at markets and events around the country. Gail, it's good to have you on Design Between the Lines.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to ask you the magic question is, what attracted you to the design industry? How did you get into this thing?
That's a great question. Interestingly, I have a degree in finance. And when I graduated from college the first time, I went to work for a Fortune 500 company, and I actually called on architects and designers. So I have literally been in the industry since the day I first graduated from college. And so years after that, I had friends that would start asking me to help them with their homes. And I did it for free for years. And then finally, when I ended up in Denver, I met my husband, and he wanted to go back to school. And I said, well, you know what? My friends are flying me around the country to help them with their houses. So I think I probably need to get a degree in design. And so I ended up going and getting a degree in design. So that's how I ended up in the industry. And it's just been a progression, and every single step has been instrumental in helping me be where I am here today.
So you've got a business side education, and then you've got the degree in design. So obviously the business side kind of brought you back into the business side of design.
Right.
Were there any early mentors of yours as you kind of grew into this business?
That's another interesting question. And that's one thing I've always regretted is I never really had a mentor. And I was one of those people that when I was working or going through school, I did an internship with an architect. And so that wasn't really the background that would help me in the design business. And by the time I was in my last semester of school, I was working full-time in my own business. And then there was no going back. So I said, well, I guess I'm going to figure it out on my own. And that's what I did is I just had to learn the school of hard knocks and jump in with both feet and teach myself.
Well, from the design side, were there any big inspirations as you got your design degree and you kind of were out there doing things? You maybe saw some things that other people were doing. Anybody that was inspirational to you from that side of things?
You know, thank you for asking that. I think that there probably weren't any people that I would call out at this time that people would know of, but I did really admire some of my teachers in school and some of the people in the local area that were designers. And it was interesting because when I grew up with a mother who loved mid-century modern and very contemporary, and when I first moved to Denver, it was a very traditional market. So I had to learn how to do traditional design. And so here I am now. And of course, what I would really love more than anything is a completely modern home with very contemporary furnishings. So it's a little bit different than what I'm living with now because it was different. So I would say that the people that I was learning from at the time when I was starting here in Denver were people who were doing more traditional design at the time. And now it has evolved, and a lot of people are moving toward that more contemporary look.
So we talked a little bit before the show began, a little bit about your busy life. So let me ask you this is the bomb questions. What's a day in your life like these
Oh my
days?
gosh. Well, it depends on which day you're asking me. But if you ask me on most days, I'm on Zoom all day.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
am on here from beginning of the day to the end of the day in nonstop conversations with clients and coaching and leading groups and interviews and you name it.
Oh my
Meeting
gosh.
with people who are influencers in the industry and talking to them about what needs to happen and what we can do together and how to collaborate. So I'm on Zoom all day. That's pretty much it. And then when I'm traveling, when I am on the road, I am in fully invested in meeting with as many of my clients as I can. Often I'm doing special events or helping them with VIP days when I'm on the road. So they're pretty intense days. All days are intense.
I was going to say, yeah. So in meeting with these folks and basically connecting and collaborating with the folks you do on a daily basis, I'm guessing that's kind of how you stay ahead of the curve on the business side, at least, or at least in design for sure, if you're collaborating.
Well, interestingly, I have not been doing design for about 5 years because I'm so busy in the consulting coaching side. I don't have time to do design. And and I have a great team. And a couple of things about the way we operate, we are 100% virtual, and we have been for 12 and a half years. And so this for us was not a change when COVID hit. We were all just still operating as normal. And it's just busy. We are very full with the things that we are constantly doing. So the collaborations are often just helping our clients growing to another level and helping them solve problems. It's a very full life. It's a very rewarding career. I love what I do.
Well, one of the things that intrigued me in the introduction, I mentioned that also because it's mentioned in your book as well, which, by the way, is Business Breakthrough right here. There it is. And thank you for that wonderful copy. And
Absolutely.
let's talk a little bit about boosting clients' creative voice. I mean, now they have a creative voice. Some of them may not believe in it. Do you have that?
Oh,
Do you have some of those moments where they have one and they've got one, but maybe they don't, and you have to bring that out in them?
Well, when people come to us, they're not coming to us to teach them design or how to be a better designer. We're teaching them how to be better business people. And our goal is to teach them to be the CEO of their business. And with that is training people to be confident. And I think that's the thing that is one of the biggest things we try to teach them. And I love this one story one of my clients told not too long ago in an interview. And she said, when I first came to Gail, she told me that I had to double my fees. And so this goes to your question about value. And she said, I thought, how am I going to do that? And so we worked it out. And then she went and had to present that to 4 of her male clients. And every one of them said, good for you. I need to do that. How did you do that? So, to me, that's what it's all about, is helping people have the courage to charge what they're worth.
That's a significant thing, because people seem to be timid a lot in that area, which means you're helping them find their creative value,
Right.
to use your vernacular for sure. So let me ask you, with this direction that you've gone in, have you ever had some Barbara Walters moments where you're sitting there with a new client and all of a sudden things dissolve rapidly,
Yes.
possibly into tears? And what do you do? Just kind of sit there for a minute and let them collect themselves, or what? What
So
happens?
who's been talking to you? Because I'm actually known for making people cry. It's not that I'm making people cry. It's just that they have a safe place where they can come. And when they come to meet with us, it takes a lot of vulnerability to be as open as they are, talk about their finances. We do some really in-depth work. We create a 3-year financial plan for people. We look at their personal finances, and we usually dig into why they haven't gotten where they want to go.
Mm.
And so by the time that we have these conversations, about 50% of our clients cry in these VIP days, including men. Had that just happened a couple of weeks back from one of the men that came in. And to me, that's a great sign, because that means, first of all, they trust me. Number two, they are willing to face whatever their fears are so that they can fix their business. And everyone has something they need to fix or something that can be improved. And so to me, when somebody is open enough to cry openly, it means that they are ready to learn and they are ready to break through. So I love that, because to me, that tells me that we have accomplished our goal.
Gail, you find sometimes that when you first get a client on board and you have your first meeting with them, and do you sometimes find that the problem they thought they had isn't really the problem they have, but
Almost
they don't
always.
know it? Seriously,
Mm-hmm.
I did not
Yeah.
know that. Wow,
Yeah.
wow. So then it's a big, I want to say, a surprise moment, an aha moment for them, going, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was what the real problem was, I guess. Wow.
Right. I had a VIP last week with a leadership team for a company. And we were talking about it, because I said, here are some of the things that you've been talking about that aren't working with your team. And I said, here's the thing: you're trying to solve the symptom of the problem and not the real problem. So we have to get to the heart of it, and we need to find the root cause of what's going on. And here are the possibilities of what it could be. And you have to figure out which one you think is most appropriate that you need to fix first. But and so I really do a lot of deep work with people, and I have been known to be called the principal. I have one client that said that she, every time she did a VIP, and she did, I don't know, 4 or 5 with me. And she said, every time I went to see you, I always felt like I was going to the principal's office.
I saw that one coming. Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of funny, but she always knew, because I am absolutely laser focused and I am direct. I don't mince words. Sometimes it can be a little bit, I don't ever mean to hurt people's feelings, but I'd rather tell someone the truth than to sugarcoat it, because if we've got something to fix, I want to fix it.
Let me ask you another question. This pertains to maybe less for individual designer firms where it's a person or a couple of people, but maybe more of a larger firm where they have a multiple folks on the team. And you've got maybe a leader who started that firm, some male or female that basically created this firm from scratch. And they're in this room with all these people, and you find a moment in there where nobody is coming forth in the group, because the leader who started the firm, is kind of thumbs down, however you want to say that, where they're in such control that the nobody in the firm wants to say anything in a negative or even a constructive way, because they're afraid of the, I guess, repercussions. I mean, is that a roadblock sometimes you run into?
Honestly, no. We are very careful in who we work with, because it's a two-way street in someone choosing to work with us and us choosing to work with them. And so I'm looking to work with people who are open to learning and to having a beginner's mind, that are willing to allow somebody to look at their business from the outside in and give them the honest feedback that they need to make the changes and do what they need to do. So I've never had somebody who was so stubborn that they wouldn't listen, or that other people didn't feel like they could speak candidly with. So we do a lot of work with larger firms, and those larger firms typically have leadership teams. And so we'll often work with the leadership teams. And I make the point with, especially when I'm first working with a new leadership team, where I'll say to the owner, from now on, all decisions are made with the leadership team. You do not make unilateral decisions ever. You can't do that. As if you are going to have a leadership team, you need to trust them and you need to involve them in every part of what you're doing.
And you're assuming, and hopefully they've got the right people in the right seats in whatever that team is doing. Yeah. Which is, I guess, another thing that they may or may not discover that you help them find.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm assuming
we're going through that right now. We have a big firm out of LA, and they're a multi-million-dollar firm, and they have probably 15 people on their in their company. And I said, it's time. We've got to put a leadership team together. And we talked about it last week about who needs to be on the team, who do they need to bring, and how do we make that happen?
I'm talking a little bit about this from interior design to product design right now,
Sure.
but a lot of that has a lot of the similar characteristics. One of the things we're gaining traction on right now in the industry, from our perspective as International Society of Furniture Designers, we're seeing more and more women coming into the industry as
Mm-hmm.
product designers. I don't think there's enough of them. I think there needs to be more. I wonder, in general, is the industry making an effort to attract more women into business, the design end of business, as well as the design field?
Mm-hmm. Well, interestingly, too, I think that about 85% of the industry is female owned. And most firms that I know have women that are in the leadership positions. And so that's encouraging to me. And what's really interesting, and probably one of the things I focus on with people, is that I want to transform people's thinking about the fact that they're a designer, but that they are a business owner who happens to be doing design. So it's a completely different twist. And that's true whether they're furniture designers, whether they're interior designers. And I think that we do have a predominant number of female-owned firms. We do have some male-owned firms, but we also have partnerships. So we see a wide variety out there. But what I do see is that with such a predominance of female-owned firms, we also have some of the challenges that come with that, with women who have children and maybe have been more of a caretaker role, and now they're really focusing on their businesses, and they need to get serious about running their business over just having a passionate job that they love.
Which brings me to a good question at this juncture, and that is, a lot of clients, I'm sure, have come into the first meetings, or even later on as you're engaged with them in this effort. You find that they are maybe it's not all about the money. Maybe it's about, for them, the work-life balance,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously,
Yes.
bottom line, but they want to somehow have a little more efficiency in having a life and working too. And which is it more of? Is it both work-life balance and, of course, the bottom line? Or what are you finding more the problems, are out
Well,
there?
a lot of people come to us because they want to fix their bottom line. So that's
Right.
number one.
Number one. Okay.
Number one. And it's a common issue for people to say, I want more time with family. And so we teach them how to set priorities in the way they manage their time. And we have some unique views on how to do that. And people love it because they can see that they can immediately make some changes. But the reality is that you really do have to scale in order to get to a point where you can have more work-life balance, which sounds counterintuitive. But the reality is if you are the design director and you're doing a great deal of the design work plus running your firm, you don't have the freedom and flexibility that somebody who has a firm that has a leadership team does. So the idea is to help people, and they have to make the decision they're willing to do this. But if they can scale up to a firm where they're at least 8 to 10 people, they're going to have more work-life balance, and they're going to have more choices about how their business operates, and they will be less involved in some of the things they dislike the most. So we help people get there.
That's awesome. That is
Mhm.
awesome. So within the structure of bringing some business acumen to designers who may not have the skill set, they didn't start with it. They need to, in some cases, learn more, but also, as you said earlier, have a little bit more of a regimented style of getting things done in their own business. Is there are some of them missing they're probably pretty good at asking their clients questions, but I think in your book you mentioned that some don't interview their clients well enough to know what their needs are, and they find they have to keep coming back to build up that knowledge base they have on that particular client. Some, they may pass on a client because, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, it just wasn't a fit, right? And yet they've got another one that this client might recommend them to, even though they didn't have business from that client who recommended them, just because they were handled in an open way. I mean, is that
Absolutely.
something that you all talk about with your clients?
We do. And I think it's really important to know that um, I think about one of my clients who said, I thought there was a rule book for how you run your business. And she said, I found out when I got into the design business that was not the case. And so there are some best practices, I think, and those are some things that, because of being in the industry for so many years, and having worked with so many different clients, we see things that work and things that don't. And it's really about you being a good leader in your business, and that's a leader with your clients as well as your team. And so leading your clients is setting expectations and making sure that you fully understand what it is they want. And it is not something that is taught in design school.
I think you mentioned early on in the book, you talked about some successes and failures that occur when people are working for someone else. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? I'm thinking there's failures. There was something mentioned about a failure sometimes occur when you're working for someone else. Where does that come from? Where did that come from? Something in your experience, or?
That's a very interesting point that you're bringing out. I think the failures come from people not being open to learning and not being open to, maybe getting feedback. And those failures are the worst. And that means that if that person isn't open to getting feedback and accepting some coaching, then if they're a member of the team, then that is not a good sign overall. Then they're probably not going to be good leaders in their own businesses either. So one thing that for people, especially as they are coming out into the field, so if we start there and we talk about people coming into the field, you want to be a sponge. You want to learn everything possible, and you want to believe that that person that you're studying under has more knowledge than you do. And so just be asking every single question possible to understand where they're coming from, why they're making the decision, how they can do things differently. And then also look for ways that you can help that person solve a problem. And I would share this, and I teach this a lot to a lot of people, is that part of leadership is teaching and mentoring people. And so one thing I teach them is do not allow people to bring the dead rat and drop it on your lap. And that means that if somebody comes to you with a problem, then they should come to you with 3 solutions as well. And they should have a pretty good idea of which one they'll pick and why. And then you can make the ultimate decision with them. But that is a great employee. And that person cannot fail because they are approaching it in that they're trying to figure out the solution before they go ask the question to their boss. So you can't fail if you have that kind of an attitude. And you as a manager, if you teach your employees that same thing, will have very successful team members because they will understand that you're delegating the outcome and not the task. And so the person on the team has a responsibility to help make decisions, and everything should not fall back on you as the owner of the business. So I hope that answers it, because it's kind of a little bit of both.
You're really defining leader versus a manager. A leader is collaborative. A leader is energizes.
Inspirational.
Yeah, energizes their team to do things on their own. The world is full of critic observers, and it doesn't take much effort to be one. But those who bring solutions along with an observation is where you were headed, right? Am I correct?
Absolutely. And if somebody can do that, especially the young ones that are coming into the field and have not had experience, if you bring that to the company you work for, you will be a prize member of the team, and you will be compensated for it, because people are looking for people that can contribute and lead. And you lead from below too. And so if you learn to lead from below, where you're a member of the team, but you're saying, I've got some ideas. What would you think if we tried this? And you came to an owner with that, I think you would have an owner that would just be in total shock. So they're used to having to come up with the answers. So you come with the answers and come with some solutions, and you will be rewarded handsomely for that.
Okay, now I'm going to turn it right to you.
Yeah.
What have been your greatest successes so far?
Gosh. Well, I think the greatest success for me is building a team that loves what they do. And I look for people who have just unique skills, and I allow them to do their best work, and I allow them to grow. So I think that's one thing, because I think when you build a strong team, they will take care of your clients, and your clients will be happy, and you'll create great successes. And I think the other thing that I would say is that I love how many people we've helped make so much money and achieve financial freedom and have that confidence and control and power in their lives over their businesses, so that they are not overwhelmed with their businesses, but they love their businesses, and they also build great teams. So that's part. And then the ultimate is the ripple effect of people having financially successful businesses who can do things like set up schools in Thailand or Africa, or give back to their communities and mentor other people. To me, that's success, is seeing the impact of what we do when we help people.
What was one of your biggest learning experiences? And I use learning experiences in place of another single word. So, which I would have talked about with myself as one of the biggest, worst moments of introducing a product that failed or whatever, from your perspective.
Gosh. I have so many.
That's the way I refer to it as well.
Well, we started this business in 2008 in March, and you probably remember October of 2008 when everything fell apart, and we had our biggest month in October of 2008 because we'd already pre-sold. Like 286 people came to this event for a few $100s a piece. So we did an $86,000 month, and I said, great, we've got a business now. And of course, great timing. So like I have said many times, I wish I had a crystal ball. And we struggled just like everybody else for about 3 or 4 years. And we've had struggles in this business. This has not all been uphill. And because nobody has really developed, I think, the right blueprint until I think we're getting there on our business, the right blueprint for this kind of business, because coaching and consulting is not a simple task. It is not. And especially doing something that's partly virtual, mostly virtual, it took a lot of learning, but we are now getting a lot of experience with that. And we have a great team that understands how to build this kind of a business. So I would say we've made lots of mistakes along the way. We've brought up products that didn't work. We've had promotions that didn't work. We had different approaches that didn't work. So we've had a lot of failures, but you just have to be able to solve the problem, move on, and go to the next.
Well, what's your advice to others in leadership positions who aspire to be? I mean, we talked a little bit earlier about what makes a good leader. You mentioned a few salient points there. Is there any other advice you'd give, let's say, to young people who are, they're looking to a future that hopefully they might be able to start their own business and then eventually be a leader in it or of it?
Well, I think I would give the advice of what I didn't take myself, which is go work for somebody for a while and get some experience and see what they're doing well and see what they're not doing well, make those observations and make different decisions for yourself. I think that's number one. And number two, don't be afraid to ask questions, but also don't come in and punch the clock at 5 o'clock. Somebody who's going to be successful in the long haul, especially in their own business, is not going to be punching a clock and looking at how they can get out the door quickly. They're going to look at how can I learn absolutely everything possible about what I'm doing in this industry and this business? Because there is a lot to learn. And you can't do it halfway. You just
Yeah,
can't. It's just not that kind of a business.
oh, absolutely. I totally agree with you because, let's say they're just coming out of school. Maybe they just graduate. They're graduating this coming year. Uh, you have to be willing to be a sponge, as you said earlier, and
Yeah.
to take it all in and make notes for your own future. Well said. Well said. What's next for Gail? What are you going to do next? What's up on your horizon?
Well, I have two more books to write. I have another one that I'm hoping it'll come out next October. I now know exactly what I'm going to write and how I'm going to approach it. So that's coming up. We have some new programs coming out next year. We've had a podcast out for a while, so we're continuing on that. And
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you. We love doing it. And we're building our coaching team more. We've got a few new coaches coming on board, and we are building out the sales team, and I've got a management team. It's just amazing. It's an amazing, fun business to run. It's hard work, but I'm getting myself ready for a sabbatical, for my first sabbatical this fall. And my team is a little nervous. I'll be gone for 5 weeks, but I totally trust them to run the business while I'm gone.
So you're going to be heading to a mountaintop somewhere in Tibet. I'm just seeing this now.
Well, maybe the ocean.
That's good.
That's kind of my deal. Give me some ocean time, and I'm a happy girl.
Oh, that is great. Now you're going to be coming to October Market for those who maybe.
I will.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. We look forward to seeing you in our little fair city of High Point. Hey, if you got a minute, I'll show you around to all the new buildings and everything that have been built since you've been here last.
Wow, we'd love that. Yeah, I was there in June, but I didn't have much time to go around and do things. I'm speaking a few places in the fall. So yeah,
that's
love
great.
to do that.
We have a new children's museum opening this fall, among others. Got this baseball team. I don't know, the Rockers. Yeah, they're 50-50. Who knows? Just nothing like your professional teams up there in Denver.
Well, they're not so great here either. From what I hear, gosh. I don't watch them, but yeah.
I hear you. Well, so let's leave our audience with maybe an inspirational comment from you to, especially let's think about young people that are in the middle of school right now. Maybe they're thinking about a direction for themselves. And for quite a few of our listeners are in the design curriculums right now. Is there anything that you would, from the student perspective, give in a word of advice to them?
Well, I would say that you have to understand that this is a business. This is not just a fun profession, and that about 90% of what they do is going to be around business and process and systems, which doesn't sound very sexy. So when you go out and you go work for somebody and you do an internship, note how they are running their systems and their processes in the business. And that will serve you well, because as you start understanding that everything is a process and you look for that, how to do that, it's almost like a mathematical formula. If you can start observing that, you are going to be way ahead of your peers, because that is something a lot of people don't understand. And the other thing I'd say to the young people that are still in school is, in school, you have a semester to do a project, and that's not real world. It goes way faster than that. So learn to have speed, and also perfect thing, look for something great, and try very, very hard not to second guess yourself. So hopefully those are a couple of important pieces of advice I would give your young folks.
Absolutely. And I don't want to leave without saying the book was great, by the way. Loved this. Where can someone find this or purchase this?
It's on Amazon and also Barnes & Noble. You can buy it in either Kindle, softcover, hardcover. All of those are available.
Okay, so it's Business Breakthrough by Gail Doby, ASID. And you should join ISFD too sometime.
There you go.
Be a member.
Send me info.
Will do, Gail. Listen, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Design Between the Lines is produced by Element Studio with the International Society of Furniture Designers. We record in High Point, North Carolina. To find videos of these podcasts, be sure to subscribe to the International Society of Furniture Designers YouTube channel. To learn more about ISFD, visit isfd.org. And don't forget to subscribe to hear more industry stories of design between the lines.